Welcome back to Video Game Vibes, the podcast with me, Grog Games, or SP, from the YouTube channel Grog Games. With me is my friend, my boy, my lad, PatriotJax, aka Jax. Jax, say hello to the pod.
Hello, pod. How are we doing on this fine Sunday evening for me? Sunday afternoon for you?
Oh yeah, I
it's
suppose.
Easter Sunday for me.
It is Easter Sunday, yeah. Do you spend time with some family today, Jax?
Went to the zoo, my dude. We went to the zoo.
You went to the zoo?
We did go to the zoo.
Oh my gosh, I'm
Some
jealous.
people got lost and they didn't have their phone,
At the
and
zoo?
we were chasing them down. It was fun. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. You always have fun at the zoo, man. Yeah, no, it was a nice day. It was the weather was actually nice, which obviously makes it 100 times better. It was actually hot.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, no, lovely day. What have you been doing? You've only woken up?
Well, sort of, maybe a little bit. Hold on, before we move on to what I'm doing, I need to ask, what's your favorite animal? Because I don't think we've talked about.
I think
this
we
before.
have penguins.
Have we? Penguins? So at the zoo, your favorite is penguins?
Yeah. Did not see any penguins.
What? Were they all eating
We
or
didn't
something?
make
And they just weren't in
it
their
around
cages?
everywhere, to be fair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately. We saw some lions, saw some cheetahs, some monkeys, all the usual elephants, rhinos, gazelles, all that sort of stuff.
Penguins is a good animal, Jax. It's a good animal.
What's yours, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, mine is I think it's a red-tailed boar. I like boars a lot, hence the boar tattoo.
Oh, damn,
yeah.
that's nice.
They're just great creatures. They're omnivores, they're survivors, they're loyalists. It's just, they can do anything and everything.
Aren't they also like the default, like first basic level, like enemy that you destroy in any like MMO to grind up?
You are not incorrect. No. However, that could be good. Like, for example, in World of Warcraft, if you're a dwarf hunter, you can tame a boar and have it be your pet. So, I mean, you know, it's always win-loss
You
situation.
talk about Warcraft, my mind just went to that South Park episode where they did World of Warcraft, and then to level up and beat that guy, they just sat at the beginning of the game killing boars.
just chilling in Goldshire.
Yeah,
I know. Oh my gosh.
I know the name.
Anyway, Jax, I'm good. I'm pretty fantastic actually. I've been doing pretty good. In regards to my life, not a ton. It's nice weather, like you said. So I got to do some house stuff. The old house stuff update.
Yeah.
Part of my driveway's chipped, so that's not fun. I got to repair that. Randomly, it was windy one day, and my garage door was open because I was going somewhere. And like, I don't know about you, but like, I have a garage, and then like, there's a window on the side of the garage, like this big window.
Right.
You know how like some garages have just like windows on garage doors themselves,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and then it looks nice. But this is on the side of the garage, so like by the like front entryway, and it's like it doesn't make any sense, and there doesn't need to be a window. My first thought when I saw it was like, burglars could just look in and be like, oh, they have some nice stuff in there. I'm gonna steal all the stuff in their garage.
I mean,
or like
put up a blind, you know, like.
Okay, so that's what I'm getting to. So like, there was this paper blind because it's in the garage, and you know, garages get musty and stuff, so you don't want to put like curtains, like nice curtains or anything. So it wasn't really a blind. It was just made of like paper, and for some reason, like the wind whipped it a certain way and like tore it, so then there was just like a gap in my blind for the garage. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. That's such a weird thing, specifically weird thing that happened. So I like had I duct tape a trash bag to the gap in between the blinds because it wasn't the whole thing that was torn.
Mate, if it works, who cares?
I fixed it today, so it looks better now. I put a new like sheet of paper in front of it, so it looks fine. But it was like janky for a few days. I was like, oh my gosh, my neighbors are gonna judge me so hard.
Just on, I say garage, being from the UK.
Garage.
But just on those in general, right? So like, obviously the UK itself is like tiny compared to the US, like landmass. So like
Yes.
the majority of houses in America like have garages, don't they? It's like the total
Yes.
opposite to over here. Like if you get a garage with your house, that's very good. That's considered very good. The majority of garages as well that were already built, like older ones, will not fit the modern cars now because modern cars are too big. So they will always be like converted into like storage or rooms or whatever. I do not have one. Unlucky. That would be really nice because I would just convert it into an office that's bigger than these 4 walls.
Man cave.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
I would definitely do that. But yeah, no, I'd love to have a garage. But here we are in the UK where everything is small and terrible.
You guys got some good stuff. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm on a cynical downer with this country at the minute, so I won't get into that.
we won't get
vibes.
into politics
We're on
of
good vibes.
the world burning.
Good vibes. What have you been playing lately?
What have I been playing?
Yeah.
Oh, just oh man, one of these times someone's gonna comment on
RuneScape.
our
Oh my
podcast
god.
Yo, what's Grog? How's Grog RuneScape doing right now? It's good. It's really good. I'm actually gonna record some stuff after this podcast and put it on my channel, which I'm very excited about. I get to do like a boss fight today, like 10 times, which is like the free-to-play boss.
Only 10.
Which his name's Obor. He's a giant.
Is he a boar?
Yeah.
Oh, boar?
No.
Oh my god.
He's a giant. He's like a hill giant.
Did you not do a video of like the final boss of the free update, the free version or something?
I sort of did. I did a Dragon Slayer quest, which is like the best free-to-play quest and like the hardest free-to-play quest. I did a video on that. So before I go to membership for RuneScape, the last thing I have to do is beat the 2 free-to-play bosses.
Oh, nice.
Which are they're like, it's not for quests, it's just random extra bosses you can do for loot. I'm just trying to achieve everything before I get over there. So because membership is so vast, it's like crazy. Like I know stuff about RuneScape membership, but I don't know everything, and like I'll watch videos, but I won't know how to actually do the stuff until I'm there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna actually make a just teaser for my channel. I'm gonna make a new series for RuneScape where I'm just experiencing member for the first time because I've never done it before. So I'm super excited about it, but that'll be a little ways away because I got to get enough content for it. But that's what I've been doing pretty much. I want to briefly talk about you playing Inscription recently. Can you talk a little bit about it? Because I want to talk a little bit about it.
Oh my god! So, it actually just came out of the fact that I couldn't be bothered to stream Elden Ring despite playing. I've been playing that a lot now. I'm like, I wanted to play a horror game or something, and I was looking in my game requests in Discord, and that was there. And I was like, I heard so many good things about this, and that the lore was kind of really interesting as well. So I was like, okay, let's check it out. And at first I was like, oh, card game, and I was like, I don't think
a card game. How can that be deep?
I mean, not necessarily that, but it's just a case of like I don't think I'd have found it that interesting. And boy, was I wrong about that. It literally just it hooked me in, like that fisherman boss that hooked one of my monsters. I don't know the words or anything. I need to play it. I was meant to play it. I was meant to stream it again. And I never got round to it, but it's a really interesting game. Like,
yes,
obviously you've played through it, so you sort of know more about it than I do. But initial impressions are that there's a lot more going on than the card game itself, which is like you can get out of the chair and there's like secrets, and 2 of the cards, the little monster guys, are talking. It's very interesting and creepy, and yeah, I'm impressed.
Good. I'm so happy you're playing that game. Yeah. I won't say any spoilers at all whatsoever. However, yeah, I just want you to know the lore is pretty good. And I expect you to do maybe a video on it if you get interested enough in it.
Probably, yeah.
because I will say there's a couple things with the lore that apparently are still a secret.
Ooh.
That's all I'm gonna say. there's some content there for you to work with. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have heard, and I think what surprised me the most during the stream was how much I enjoyed the card game of it.
Yeah,
and I was just
it's
sitting there going,
simple
my
card
God,
game.
This reminds me of my Yu-Gi-Oh days back in school. Like, I don't play like card games like much. I can't think of a card game that I've played like a video game, you know.
A video game. Have you played Slay the Spire?
No.
Okay.
You name any, and I haven't played it. The last one I played that I enjoyed was Yu-Gi-Oh's Worldwide Edition on the Game Boy Advance, and that game was freaking phenomenal. For the record, guys. Not the
long time
Duel
ago.
Links one that's
Deep
free
cut.
to play. Cost yeah, that's going back a few years. Let me tell you.
That's great. I'm looking forward to more of that. Really quick before we get into the main topic, Jax, have you seen the Mario movie yet?
No, but I'm hoping to go see it next Friday.
Are you?
Hopefully.
Okay. I need to buy a ticket or something and go with the boys. But apparently, I saw on Twitter, the highest grossing animated movie ever, I guess, supposedly.
I did see that. So it's gonna, between this and Sonic, it's sort of gonna, there's gonna be like a new wave of video game adaptations now. Because the last few, like TV shows as well, with The Last of Us and that, they've just been so good.
Right.
And I think it's almost at a point. They're at a point now where the video game stigma that the industry has had for so many years is sort of dying away. And now they see it sort of on that same level. Like, they've got Marvel, they've adapted comic books and all that stuff, and now they're going to seriously adapt good video games, because there's so many you could go through. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, you have an endless pool of ideas that they can come up with and adapt onto the big screen and in TV as well. I would just say though, it does speak a little of the film industry when you see this wholeheartedly lack of original films. Like, it does feel a bit like, if
you mean original concepts in general?
If something's not from a book or from a comic book or from an old TV show or an old film, and they've redone it, there's not too many that sort of sit outside of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. I mean, people are trying to just take resource materials, I guess, but I don't know enough about the movie industry to say one thing or the other, but yeah, it does seem like sometimes it seems like they're running out of ideas over there. I agree.
I mean, I've not got no problem with them doing like video game adaptations. A lot of people have speculated, because I think there's a few like Nintendo game films that have been confirmed as well, that there's going to be like, well, it'll be like the NCU, the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, and it will all lead up to a Super Smash Bros. Film like the Avengers.
No, come on. I don't want that. I don't want that. You would want that? Is that what you're saying?
I think it'd be really good. It would be very interesting to see the Legend of Zelda, like Link's film, because obviously he doesn't talk, and that's kind of a large part of his. So they could do something really different by having the character actually not speak in a way. I don't know. That I don't think. I'm sort of hesitant to see what they'll do with the Legend of Zelda, to be fair.
I would bet you any amount of money that if they make a Zelda film, Link will talk.
Probably.
I'll bet you any amount of money. There's just no way Hollywood's going to do it.
Breath of the Wild, for so long, Zelda didn't have a voice, and then they gave her a voice in Breath of the Wild. Everyone loved it. It was great and fit perfectly.
Yeah.
So yeah, they probably would give Link a voice. I don't know. I think they could do some cool concept where the main character of the film doesn't talk. Is that even? That's probably. I don't know. I don't know. I've not made a film. I don't know.
You would have to like make sure the rest of the film is like really good in regards to like how cinematic it is, like the gorgeous like shots and stuff. There would have to be like some kind of like hierarchy of like action, so then stuff is going on, so Link doesn't have to fill time with nothing else and stuff. I don't know. It'd be hard to do.
One final thing before we move on, just because I wanted to talk about this briefly in Zelda Link. Yes. I've also been playing Skyward Sword sort of religiously the past month. It's in my list of things and list of games to complete. I wanted to do it by May. I think I'm definitely going to finish it. And I was not sold on the game until sort of the last couple of play sessions that I had with it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I still can't enjoy having to swing your sword with the right analog stick, because I've refused to play with motion controls anyway, but I can't press a button to slash my sword. I will never get over that. That's my critique.
I do remember we talked about that, yeah.
And I'm not a huge fan of the art style either. Like, it's definitely not the best from the Zelda series that I've seen. But the game, like the puzzles and stuff, and the temples, like the dungeons, they are vintage Zelda. Like, they are very, very Zelda. And obviously playing this after playing Breath of the Wild is nice to come back to that type of Zelda game. It was actually a boss battle on a ship, on like a sinking ship. It was like a, what's that sea creature? I forget its name. The Kraken. It's like a Kraken boss fight sort of thing. And that's what sort of won me over. I just thought that it looked really good. Basically, it looked really good. So yeah, Skyward Sword. I wasn't impressed with it at the beginning, but I have persevered, and I now consider it decent.
It is now on the C tier if we were ranking it. Maybe by the end of the game it will be better.
In terms of my meme tier list, it's alright. That's what it is. It's
just all another thing for those YouTube Shorts people that tear you up about.
God, oh God! Don't look at the comments on that Resident Evil video. My Lord, the amount of people that Resident Evil 5. Anyway, moving on. We're here to talk about Resident Evil. But we're here to talk about Resident Evil 4, because obviously Resident Evil 4 Remake has just dropped, and I have been playing some of it. If I didn't go on holiday, I would have completed it by now.
You needed it, buddy.
I've played about 3-4 hours of it so far, and I'm wholeheartedly impressed. I think everything that I obviously haven't completed it, but everything I'm sort of expecting and what I've seen so far was what I was expecting prior to its release. Because I wasn't worried, but I was fairly certain that this remake would get the same treatment that the Resident Evil 2 remake got. Which felt like there was more time and dedication and stuff put into the Resident Evil 2 remake and the Resident Evil 4 remake than the Resident Evil 3 remake, which was really not so good. And another part of that for me is like, and it's not a massive issue, but like game length I think is quite important. The original Resident Evil 4 was quite long anyway. I think it was like 16 hours, and the remake is about 15 hours, so it's very close to the original.
Oh, I didn't know they were that short.
Well, Resident Evil 2, the remake, was about 8 hours, and Resident Evil 3 was 6. Just the main stuff, not the side stuff. So if that's just like the main story, and that's sort of what my camera. That's sort of what I like base it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for the podcast listeners, just so y'all know, I am coming from the perspective of a gamer who does not know too much about Resident Evil, so I shall be asking questions along the way. The knowledge that I have of it so far, though, is just all the memes that have been on my TikTok feed. So I'm excited to get into the meat of what this game actually is, Jax. So one thing that I do know is so Leon's the main character, right?
That is correct.
Boy Leon, sweet lad.
He's a man now.
People. He's a straight up man now.
He's all grown up. Like that's one thing I sort of loved about seeing the transition from the Resident Evil 2 remake to Resident Evil 4, and seeing Leon and how he's changed. What happened in Raccoon City affected him, and to like the guy he's become now. It's really good. Obviously, I've only seen stuff early on, but obviously from the original game, you saw that sort of that progression, but you didn't see it in the same way because obviously the original Resident Evil 2 was on the PlayStation. There's only so much you can take from those characters
models
in that sort of like in those sort of polygon character models and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Compared to seeing like the same like the same face model for Leon.
You can't see how
it's
like
really good.
if they've aged. You can see it more clearly now.
You see sort of what they've done and how they are as a character. And yeah, everyone loves Leon. Leon is a great protagonist. And dude, I've got to get you to play a Resident Evil game sometime. I know, like honestly,
it's I know, I understand. I've been
start with this one. It's the most action focused.
This one is the most action focused.
Yeah, so the original Resident Evil 4 completely changed how the franchise was moving forward.
Oh,
when it was on the PlayStation 2. And GameCube era to an extent until Resident Evil 4, they had fixed camera angles. It was a lot more atmospheric in terms of its horror, and it was a lot more survival based than I would say Resident Evil 4 was. That was part of the reason why, for a lot of people, Resident Evil 4 is like the greatest Resident Evil of all time out of the lot, and I completely understand why they would say that. Like, I loved it. I probably played more runs of it than any other Resident Evil game, but that's because the action side of it was so much fun. Like, it was such a fun experience to have, and they've kept that with the remake for sure. They've added a few things like the knife counter that you can do.
Although you can parry now, like Elden Ring.
Yeah. You can parry, and it works. And then you can like kick them and that. It's just really good. And you've got like durability on knives, so you can like choose to stab a villager to death.
Nice.
Before they turn them into something very much worse.
So, like, from what I've seen, it just seems like Leon is just a straight badass now, and before he was less of a badass, I guess.
So,
and was that due mostly just to what you said through the last previous games, the third and second games? He's bulked up now, and he's rooting, just essentially there to kick everyone's butt. Is that
kind of. They've in the remake they provided a little more justification as to why Leon has sort of beefed up, as you like, but like
that's one of the memes I've said.
And he's doing like German suplexes on villagers and that sort of stuff. Like, why is he like? Because when in Resident Evil 2, his first day on the job was what happened in Resident Evil 2, like the zombie outbreak. That was his first day as a police officer.
He was a police officer? This poor man.
It was his first day on the job. And so now, and in the beginning, like at the start of the game, in the intro, it was Leon recounting what happened and what happened since Raccoon City and what's happened now. And he'd been hired by the President of the United States, and he went on loads of intense training and missions and stuff. So he is a complete all-action hero.
He's like Bruce Willis in Die Hard now.
He is. You could definitely see Leon do Die Hard. Easy, I could see it. Make a mod. There you go.
Make a mod. Oh my gosh. Okay, so for those people that may not know, what is the premise for this one? Is he getting hired again to do something, or what's going on? What is he investigating?
The president's daughter has been kidnapped by strange cult in Eastern Europe. And Leon has been tasked with retrieving her and finding out more.
How is that a thing? Where was she when she got kidnapped? I need to know more details than where. How does this happen to someone?
But
especially the president's daughter.
Quite right. there's something not quite right about this cult.
Okay.
It's almost like there's some sort of virus or sort of thing that is going on with all of these people and making them act the way they act.
That makes sense for a Resident Evil game.
Exactly.
Are you going to tell me straight up that we don't know how she was kidnapped, though? Did they gloss over that?
One thing I did not do, there was a little ARG that they did for Ashley, the girl that gets kidnapped. Yep. They did some sort of ARG on a website prior to the games coming out, and it was literally about how she got kidnapped. So there is an actual There wasn't in the original, but there is now. I just didn't bother to have a look.
That's
I don't know
okay.
what it's called. Hang on. RE4RA.
We're gonna look it up right now because we're professional podcasters, and also I want to know because for me, I feel like the president's daughter might have some guys guarding her or something, and I like if it's straight up where she was on a vacation in Europe and then they just took her. And why would they need the president's daughter? Can they use anyone? Are they trying to ransom?
Yes, it's. I haven't got that far, but in the original, it was.
I'm getting
basically
ahead. I'm sorry.
to use her as a bargaining chip for their demands, if you like. But the ARG was like Baby Eagle is missing, and Baby Eagle is the code name for the president's daughter, basically.
Interesting.
The president's daughter, codename Baby Eagle, has been kidnapped. We need every warm body available. Dozens of agents have been mobilized to the scene, but we need global intel and assistance. Blah blah blah. I haven't done it. For anyone who has done it in the comments, let me know, was it any good? And I need to get on top of that stuff in advance. But hey, I had COVID and then I was on holiday, so leave me alone.
Leave us alone. We don't do research here, guys, okay? We're vibing.
We're vibing. That's a good excuse for us to not be prepared.
This is chill. Okay. So, I only know a little bit about Ashley. I've seen TikToks where Leon's trying to do stuff like, an awesome action hero, and she sort of jumps in the way and gets shot, and then and messes up the whole entire thing. What do you feel about her in regards to being a protagonist, sort of like a sidekick character, right? Or is she more than that?
Nah, well, she's... And again, I have not got that far. But in the original, you're essentially just chaperoning her. There's chaperoning sections of the game. You can
like
use her to
missions?
Kind of, yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
So you have to protect her whilst going through certain areas.
Gotcha.
You can also sort of like give her like a piggyback to get into certain areas, to sometimes get treasure or to progress the game.
Okay.
In the original, I actually didn't find it, like, a lot of people found her like incredibly annoying, and don't get me wrong, like the voice acting and stuff in the original, with that, fair enough. But in terms of the actual gameplay, the AI was actually decent. Like, she would get behind you when you're aiming your gun and stuff, and a lot of the time, I'd say for the most part, it's your fault if you're accidentally shooting her or you don't save her. For me, I don't know what it's like now. I'm obviously going to say it's probably going to be a lot better, and her character, at least from what I've seen, is a lot more, like, there's more of a person and character in there than just like the damsel in distress, or like the child you have to save sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's a bit more to her, I think.
Okay.
Than there was in the original.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, because that was my question. Because I mean, I gotta bring up BioShock once per podcast, Jax.
Until I play it, yeah.
Yeah. In BioShock Infinite, your main character Booker has a side character, Elizabeth, who it's sort of the same concept, where you're supposed to go get this girl and bring her back. And so actually that's very similar storyline, but she's a great side character and more of her own character. I just wanted to see the comparison in regards to that. if Ashley is, actually vital to the storyline or vital to being a character on her own right, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult when I haven't played the full remake, but from the original, there wasn't she was very much just there to save, essentially.
Yeah.
There was a section where you played as her, which was actually really good because obviously she had no weapons. Trying to remember how that went down. It was there were like that's it. There were statues that would come alive, and there were quick time events that she had to dodge, like attacks.
Okay.
And then essentially just run away. That's right. She could throw like fire pots onto the enemies. Yeah, so stuff like that. There were random ones like located, and she had to crawl under tables, reach it, and then chuck it. That was actually really like her section. Sometimes you get like side character sections where you have to play as them, and a lot of the time they're really bad.
Right. Yeah.
Like just speaking about Resident Evil, like the original Resident Evil 2, where you had to play as Sherry if you're playing Claire's route. Horrible. Like, I hated playing as Sherry in the original because you had to run past dogs and stuff, and it was really it wasn't straightforward, and it was frustrating. I never felt like that when I played Resident Evil 4 and did the Ashley section. I actually didn't mind it. I quite looked forward to it, and if you wanted to explore further with her in that particular section, you can find items that you can then bring back to Leon to help him.
Good. Okay. That makes sense. Good. I'm glad that you get to, walk in her shoes a little bit.
Can I make a statement that I know it's early in the year?
No way.
And I know people don't want to say
serious?
it. And I've not even completed the game, so I'm probably talking about it. I do think this really could be Game of the Year. Like, I genuinely believe that.
Okay. Would you like to state some facts, some cases?
Well, I think the Resident Evil fan base, for one thing, is quite... Like, it's a big fan base. And you've got all of the people who played... so it spans across a few generations. And I think new people that have come in to play Resident Evil because of the newer games like 7 and 8, and then the remakes in 2 and 3, and now 4. Like, 4 is easily, and this was true of the original game as well, the most accessible Resident Evil game, because obviously for the original they changed the gameplay mechanics so much it became third person over the shoulder rather than tank controls and fixed camera angles that people just couldn't get into. It became more action orientated, which suited a broader audience than just the horror. And I think for like Resident Evil 2 anyway, like the Resident Evil 2 remake and 3, I think most people would the accessibility is there for that as well. But I think Resident Evil 4 in particular is just it's just kind of like a titan of a game. Like, it's so long and there's so many good set pieces and action sequences, and the characters are great. You see Ada Krauser, who is an awesome boss, and they have mercenaries mode. Like, I just think.
Oh, what's mercenaries mode?
It's basically it's like a timed section where you literally just go around shooting, trying to get as many points as possible with like a certain amount of ammo and stuff. And
fun.
They had it in the original Resident Evil 4, and it was fantastic. And obviously they've done it in a lot of the Resident Evil games since because it done so well.
So it's like a horde mode,
yeah, kind of. Yeah,
okay.
You have like 3 minutes to go around and take everyone out, and try and get like S rank basically.
Gotcha.
But I do just think, like, and given the reviews that this game has, like, it's clearly done really, really well. Unless there's one of those classic Sony, like, narrative, story-driven AAAs that comes along in, I don't know, August, September, October time, like God of War or something that was like in previous years, that could just blow it out the water. I think it's got a really good shot of being Game of the Year. Like, I really do. And it makes me so happy, because love Resident Evil, and Resident Evil 2 Remake was in with a shout when that dropped. I think it was 2017, or 2019 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, do you know what? Actually.
What did you realize?
We were just talking about it earlier. I was like, so what games are coming out this year? And I was like, oh yeah, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Zelda.
that's surprising for you to say when Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out. Essentially,
it is. However, a lot of people get given it stick because it basically looks like people are calling it Breath of the Wild DLC, which is very because you're on the same map. So people are saying it's lazy and stuff.
That seems a little lazy, which is unfortunate.
You haven't seen the game yet. You haven't seen the game. You got to see the game first. But hey, it's clearly not going to win Game of the Year. So.
Okay, so I do have a question, Jax. So you said obviously Leon's so cool now. He does all the things. He kicks all the people. This is more action based than previous games. What are some of the horror elements that come up in this game then? Like, it's still a scary game, right? It's not just like jump scares from the people coming out of buildings and stuff, right?
Nah. See, that's the good thing. Resident Evil has always been like that. It's never relied on jump scares. It's always been atmospheric. And in Resident Evil 4, this was kind of one of my critiques I had because it moved away from atmospheric horror,
right,
to an extent. But there are still very scary enemies and very scary areas. For Resident Evil 4, there are three particular. I guess they're all bosses, pretty much. Well, two of them are bosses.
Okay.
Three particular areas of the game that were, when I played the original, literally terrified me. So we have the regenerators, which are these. They're humanoid. They're just they're almost just blue looking and just creepy. They've got like giant freaking spiky teeth.
Oh. And
they grab you and they literally just bite Leon's head off, basically.
Ew.
But it wasn't that. It was the case of the environment in which you went into. So it was like this sort of creepy, it was almost like a hospital sort of area. It was sort of like a lab. Yeah, it was more like a lab, to be fair. But it was the audio, it was the sound design. It was so good because it would just be silence, and then you would just hear this. It was like them
skulking around in the background.
Yeah, just that's like they're breathing, and I used to just be like, no. Don't get me wrong, and I compare this to the older Resident Evil ones, the ones that I sort of have a really, really strong appreciation for. But those regenerators, they were so I literally had to ask my brother. I was like, we could do this together, right? I need some backup on this. It wasn't just that though. It was the fact that if you shot them in the leg, for example, and then you take off a leg, and then they would fall to the ground. You're like, okay, cool. That gives me a bit of time. I can now finish them off. They literally hop, dive towards you. Genuinely terrifying. If you let them get that close, it is horrible. I am not looking forward because I know that they're in the remake. They haven't cut that. I know. I'm not looking forward to it.
I bet they look even scarier now.
Oh, this is what I mean, right? And I made a tweet. I made that exact sort of tweet about one of the other scary moments, which is the Verdungo. I think I mentioned this before.
Verdungo?
Yeah, I think you said exactly that.
Verdungo?
Or Verdungan. It's basically a xenomorph from Alien, and it is genuinely terrifying. You're just basically running through a sewer area, and it's attacking you with its freaking sharp tail from above, and it's you don't see it for ages, and then when you finally do, you get locked in a room, and then it jumps down, and then you see it, and it's got glowing eyes, and it's so hard to kill. And the way you were always meant to kill it, they gave you a free rocket launcher at some point through the game.
Oh.
You could take it with you if you could fit it in your inventory. And in my mind, the reason they did that was specifically for this boss fight. Because if you didn't have that, you would have to throw these canisters down that would essentially freeze him for a couple of seconds, and that's when you start doing your damage. There have been a few times where I've been comfortable not using the rocket launcher, because I remember I played Resident Evil, the original one, so many times. But if I'm not feeling it, if I'm getting a bit freaked out, I'm like, right, I'll just get out the RPG and let's just deal with this issue. I'll happily do it. But yeah, so those two, and then there was this other guy, I forget what his name was, but you were basically in some maze trap. But I think they've cut that from the game.
Oh, really? That's too bad. Yeah,
it was kind of a weird sort of section. It was good though, and it was creepy. But I think they cut that. Yeah. So regenerators and the xenomorph. I'm not looking forward to it.
I did just Google the regenerator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little freaky. I wouldn't want to run into that thing. That's crazy.
No, but you should definitely get this, man. Or get the original on PC.
Is it on PC?
Yeah,
right now?
Resident Evil 4 2005, dude. Get it for like, I don't know, like $5.
A $5? Is it? Hold on, I'm checking.
It must
I'm
be
checking
cheap.
Steam
It must
right
be cheap.
now.
Definitely,
checking
like
Steam.
you will have so much fun with that game. Honestly, the scariness doesn't come until those parts don't come to the end of the game, so you'll be fine.
I mean, I can do some stuff. Like if there's jump scare, I'm more. Yeah, I've told you multiple times. I don't like jump scares. Eeriness I can do. I can do eeriness. Eeriness is fine. I have wishlisted the game. No one can yell at me now.
Just wait for that Steam Summer Sale. There you go.
Oh, we're gonna have do we get a spring sale for Steam?
You just missed it, mate. It was in March.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why is it in March?
I don't think I picked anything up in time.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I picked anything up either. I think I was just busy. Wait, no. I did buy a couple things. I bought.
It's all about the summer sale, anyway, man.
Yeah, it's fine. I've got other stuff I need to play. I'm so behind on my list. It's not even funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is it April 9th right now?
Yeah, man, this year's just flying by, innit?
There's this dumb profile on Twitter where it's just like their whole thing is they make the year a progress bar, like a video game progress bar. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's just like, so like it'll be like a certain day and then it'll be like the year is 32% complete, and you're just like, this is stupid. I don't want to see it as a percentage. How dare you?
Oh my god.
But anyway, I digress.
32%? Is that where we're at?
No, I don't know. I was just saying that. I hope not. Actually though.
Probably somewhere in the late 20s, early 30s, yeah.
That's freaking awful. Jax, so you said there's 3 bosses in this game, correct? Sort of.
Well, no, there's a lot more. There's a lot of bosses. No, those were the 3 I was talking about that I'd consider like that were actually scared me.
Yeah.
One's been cut, so that's good.
So, what is that big boss that Leon had fought before in a previous game? Was it like Mr. X or something, or like?
Oh right, so the Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. one
Yeah, with
all the memes when that.
Yes, the meme guy. That guy. Yeah, he burst through the wall.
He's not around anymore.
No, he's not. But is there a boss that is comparatively as scary as this, or is like the cult in general just like the main antagonist?
I was going to say, because I'm guessing that for me, and I guess for most people, what made Mr. X scary in Resident Evil 2 was, and again, this is why people compare it to Resident Evil 3, but I'll get onto that in a moment, that there's a large section of the police station area that you play as Leon or Claire, and Mr. X will just randomly appear, or he'll be around and you can hear his footsteps and stuff.
That's awful.
And he will just come after you. Yeah, like it makes the game so much more unnerving knowing that there's this guy he can just go pretty much anywhere aside from the save rooms, and you've got to get over to that side and stuff, and he's kind of chasing you in a way. There isn't necessarily that type of boss or enemy in Resident Evil 4. The bosses in Resident Evil 4 tend to be very like you get to the area, you fight the boss, you move on, sort of thing.
Okay.
But just quickly with the Mr. X, see, that was the problem I think a lot of people had with Resident Evil 3, and it was a critique that I had of Resident Evil 3, because the Nemesis in Resident Evil 3 was essentially what Mr. X was, but like 100 times worse.
Oh.
Because he had like freaking rocket launchers and stuff, and he would always appear. And in the PS1 version, the original Resident Evil 3, there were, I'd say the large majority of the game is like him just being around and would appear out of nowhere. And whereas the remake sort of pigeonholed him into small sections and like almost like cutscenes.
Oh,
like scripted sections where, oh, he's here, now we have to go. And that's what kind of that for me was a large part of why Resident Evil 3 did not resonate with me compared to the original, because they didn't make the Nemesis, like they had Mr. X and they done Mr. X perfectly. All they needed was the same sort of thing,
but
they just needed to make it same concept, but with the Nemesis, and just add a few variations and just like and make it. They could have made it longer, but anyway, I'm getting way off track. Talking about Resident Evil 3,
still in the universe, yeah, it's fine.
Like, it's a good game, guys. I've been over this. But yeah, there's nothing like that in Resident Evil 4. There's no chase sequences, some guy chasing you constantly. As far as I can remember off the top of my head, the most famous boss from the Resident Evil 4 is El Gigante.
El Gigante.
The giant, like, it looks like a Lord of the Rings troll. Like a cave troll. Kind of looks. That's the vibe I always got from it. It looked like a cave troll, essentially. Yeah, that's sort of the first main big boss that you fight in Resident Evil 4. And yeah, really, that's the thing of Resident Evil 4 as well. The boss fights, they were all, I found the majority of them really incredibly creative, like in how you had to deal with them. And obviously, it's benefiting because you get such a wide range of weapons in Resident Evil 4. One thing I'll note about the weapons, just on that, is I was hoping, and that I hopefully still might get to see something. I was hoping that there would be a bit more lore and sort of like some justification and logic as to why there's this guy called the Merchant who just so happens to be in the village area.
I know of him. Is this the first game with him in it?
No, he was in the original, and that was like, I think I'm sort of, I don't know why, but in my head, like the Raccoon City Resident Evils and stuff, and Code Veronica as well. To me, those sort of things all felt like, oh, this could actually happen. Like, I'm sitting there talking like, this could, you know, in like, I'm immersed in this world enough. And then Resident Evil 4 came along, and there was this guy who's like, see all of my guns, I've got thousands, and you look like you need them. And it just felt strange and out of place to do that, bearing in mind that there's my particular gun's ammo lying about in
everywhere,
barrels that are like coloured in like a yellow paint, like a cross, being like, you should open it. Okay, so I need to distill my belief about stuff like that, but I just wanted to see a bit of like, where is his place in this world, because the only thing I've got is that he sort of mentioned that him and his mates, they're kind of like treasure hunters, and they sort of found the cult's treasures, and you can buy and trade stuff with him. But the way I see it, and I know I'm being so over the top here, the way I see it is, if you've got this guy who's got a ton of weapons and stuff, why are the villagers, like, why is the cult letting this guy like trade with me and letting me buy loads of his weapons? Like,
why are they trying to kill him? That he's also, are they not aware he stole their treasure or whatever? Isn't he a threat too?
I guess the counter argument to that is, oh, you know, game logic, because you want to enjoy the action stuff, you want all the cool weapons and that. But that was one thing that kind of just bothered me. But I'm hoping to see a bit more. So there's a couple of things that he said and stuff. I want to buy into the reason that he's there and why he's being allowed to be there. Otherwise, it's just strange. it doesn't quite add up.
And it is the same guy from the first one you said. It's not like here's a merchant. It's the same merchant.
No, it's the merchant. That's his name, the merchant.
Okay, but it's the same character.
Yeah, same character, new voice actor. Love the new voice actor, by the way. Got that really strong British accent. Gotta love it.
Okay, so
over here, stranger, like East London.
Over here, stranger, like that. Was that good?
Yeah.
No, it was.
That's a little Victorian for me.
Yeah, sorry.
That's what people think we sound like. We either sound like posh, like posh West London Chelsea, or we sound like we're like from the 1800s, like Victorian.
I mean, you guys just have a wide variety of accents, which is just
that is very true. What's mine like by comparison?
What's your like? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to rank British accents
because
I feel like
God, I should definitely do that.
You can do that. If I did that, I feel like that'd be insensitive to someone.
Ranking British accents. Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yours is just like top, like, and then
well, you know, it's funny because I feel like mine is just. I know it sounds really bad. I feel like mine's just like a standard.
Well, like that's what I wanted to say, but I didn't want to. Like yours is just like a regular British accent, I think.
Okay.
I guess
that I will take.
No, but it's good. Like it's just like a solid, all-rounded accent.
That's what I feel about your American accent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, because like
it just feels like a standard. It's not like I don't know.
do you know what? Do you know what like the Minnesotan accent is, or like Northern America in the Central America? No, it's like.
No.
It's
we get into stereotypes, so we should be careful.
Yeah, no, it's like, oh, hey there, don't you know? I'm gonna go shovel the driveway. Like it's almost Canadian.
Canadian.
No,
okay.
But because I'm right next to Canada, so like it blurs. It blurs. So like it's not as Canadian, but it's one tick below that. But
so you get Canadian weather.
Yes.
You get the cold.
I still have snow on the ground.
Oh.
It's actually melting now, but anyway, my point being I'm glad you don't think I sound Canadian. Not there's anything wrong with that, but like
oh god. But we love you Canadian listeners, by the way.
Canadians are great.
Anyway.
Everyone loves Canadians. They're just cool people.
I mean, it's one of the countries if I'm ever allowed to move my family, I would move. One of the options would definitely be Canada. Yeah, for sure. I will just say, and I guess I'll finish on this point, is that Capcom, they are 100% proving that they are like the king of remaking video games.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I've mentioned Resident Evil 3 before. I feel like they dropped the ball on that one. But I really don't know too many games that have made... Like their original games were so good, so obviously people get apprehensive when they're remaking a game. When it comes to the Resident Evil games, people know they want every one of them to be remade because they know they do such a good job, and they just nailed it. They've nailed it with Resident Evil 2, and they've really nailed it with Resident Evil 4. Like I just hope that they keep this level and don't drop it like they did with Resident Evil 3. Like
yeah,
they're probably going to continue this route. Like it would make sense. They would do it for Resident Evil Code Veronica, which I really that definitely needs a remake because it's such a good game. And they need to. If they skip that and go straight on to 5, I'll be a little disappointed because according to my comment section right now, Resident Evil 5 is like the best game ever.
Oh, apparently.
I wasn't really a fan of it. For like a whole number of reasons, but it continued the action style of Resident Evil 4, and the story was one of the aspects that was actually pretty decent. To be fair, the story was good, but there was barely any horror. Like it was set during the day. Like most of the time, it was set during the sunshine and stuff. That's what like if it's gonna be a horror game, which Resident Evil games are, you've got to at least have the right setting.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was set in Africa, so
Oh,
it's interesting.
huh.
There's a lot of controversy in Resident Evil TikTok as to whether they will remake it because of the controversial nature that the original Resident Evil 5 actually had. So yeah, that was quite interesting. So it will be. I think they will do the remake, but they will just sort out a lot of things.
They'll tweak a lot. It didn't age well.
Yeah, they do remakes so well, and doing this alongside doing like continuing the franchise, like Resident Evil will be Resident Evil 9 whenever that comes out. Like, I'm fully trusting that they're not gonna f up anything. Well, okay, let me redo that. I'm fully confident that Capcom will continue to make fantastic remakes as well as continuing the mainline series, and it's not just for older fans, but I feel like obviously because older fans remember those games, it's just really nice to see an old game that you know and have loved get like a fresh, and it's not like a remaster, it's like a whole remake. You get like new gameplay, new sections and stuff, and Easter eggs that relate to maybe stuff that they've cut, but they, you know, Resident Evil do it so well. Like, it's so cleverly done. Like, it really is. And I just, sometimes it's hard to describe it because it's like there's little things here and there that they do like that. Oh, that was nice. And you like I feel like I'm doing that a lot of the time when I'm playing the game. I'm like, oh yeah, well, let's see what I did. Nice, yeah, that was clever. Like, that's what I find myself doing a lot of the time. And a lot of people like give remakes sort of crap in general because it's like, oh, you know, all we've had is remakes and there's no new games and stuff like that.
They're just trying to make more money. Yeah.
First off, that's not true. But secondly, like, remakes are fantastic because you will find that a lot of people will not try and play the original of whatever the game was. A, because they might not be able to, like, they don't know like emulators and stuff if it's like a PS1 game.
Yeah, not everyone.
And like the gameplay for that time, they won't be up for trying it. But something that's modern, and like naturally more accessible, and they might find that they end up like there's a whole new fan base within Resident Evil, the new people that have played the games because of the remakes and because of like the later versions, like Resident Evil 7 and 8 and stuff. So yeah, Capcom are just continuing to outdo themselves, and I do hope that Konami, who do Silent Hill and Metal Gear Solid, do remakes to that same level so that we get just as good stuff for like Silent Hill and the rumoured Metal Gear Solid, which is very exciting for me personally. But yeah, man, definitely play the original Resident Evil 4, like, seriously, because you'll have such a fun time, like, okay. Genuinely.
I trust you. I will. It is on the wish
Maybe
list.
I'll play BioShock as well, you know.
Can we make that deal right now?
Okay,
I'll play it if you play BioShock.
Okay, I need to find a month in my games to complete section, and I'll at least try and like start the game.
Fantastic. That's all I wanted. So I think it's safe to say on our end that this game easily passes the vibe.
Oh my god. It's like obviously it does. Obviously, like I'm hoping to come away after I've finished Resident Evil 4 by saying that it probably won't be, because I feel like in my mind I'm like, nothing will ever beat Resident Evil 1 remake that was the remake for the GameCube. That was just a masterpiece of a game in my opinion, at least my favourite. But I feel like this Resident Evil 4 remake, I feel like it's really going to do it for me. Like, it's really going to push it to, like, could be my favourite. It started well, so
You're going to have to give us an update next pod.
The only issue I have, right, is that for some reason, and I don't know if it's my graphics driver, my graphics card or what, but I try and stream any of the Resident Evil remakes, it just won't do it.
Yeah.
So I have to record them now. And because I don't do Let's Plays, no one sees it anymore. So I'm actually, it's kind of nice. Like the other day, for like the first time since like my baby's been born, I had like 3 hours during the day to myself.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I just sat down and played Resident Evil. It was yesterday, actually. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. And I sat down and I played it, and I was like, this is great, because I could just sit and immerse myself in the game.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything else.
It was so good. I loved it.
That's great. And, you know, sometimes it's good to have games that are very meaningful to you, and as a creator, you don't have to share with your audience. I mean, you just play it just to
I would like to.
right. I don't mean that.
I know.
But it's important that you also get your time as well. Is what I'm trying to say.
I totally got what you mean. But I'm doing a lore video on it anyway, so I'm recording all the gameplay. But I don't want to just upload just gameplay with no commentary or anything.
Oh no, that's
that's
a whole
but yeah, I will be
different...
doing a lore video for that. I didn't get my Resident Evil 3 one out in time. I wanted to get it out before Resident Evil 4 drops, and the holiday kind of messed all that up.
No, they'll still be linked via the algorithm. Is what I say. So
fingers crossed.
Well,
all pray to the algorithm.
All hail the algorithm.
The almighty algorithm.
I love you, YouTube. YouTube. I love you. If you say it enough, they'll promote your video. Hey guys, this has been a wonderful podcast episode of Video Game Vibes. I hope you greatly enjoyed it. If you did, can you please, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're on any of the other platforms where this beautiful podcast is found, if you want to rate us 5 stars, that'd be amazing. Or whatever is the equivalent of stars for platforms. I don't know. But we greatly appreciate you guys listening, and we hope you tune in again for another episode. Jax, why don't you take us away by giving one weird fact about the game as I fade into darkness.
Freaking, oh god, right.
The music's playing, hurry up, Jax.
Oh, freaking Jesus, you really dropped it on me. Okay, so, did you know that you can get one of the most powerful guns in the Resident Evil 4 remake very early on? Because the recent update, which has provided the Mercenaries mode, if you get an S tier, I think in any map, or maybe it's all 4 maps, you get the hand cannon Magnum, which you can then buy from the shop in the main menu, which you can then play in the main game. Although there is barely any Magnum ammo around at the beginning, but hey, that hand cannon, it was in the original, and that thing's a beast, so yeah.
We love you, goodbye.
Good night.